And so, Bob, I would take attendance of the board members, and also anyone attending as public for the record. And then we can proceed, and we'll wait another 5 minutes for another board member to come, and then you can proceed in how we're going to deal with the applications piece. Okay?
All right, so for the record then, we have board member Dominic Celtruda, a board coordinator for the Department of Consumer Protection, Verinda Birdsong. I'm Bob Kuzmich, temporary worker retiree with the Department of Consumer Protection, former board administrator. We also have Sarah Swanson. She's on the agenda listed to be approved for licensing, initial licensure by exam. And we're waiting for Phil Cerrone. I'm sorry, two Phils, for Phil Barlow, other board member, to attend.
And Ms. Penniman.
Go, I'm saying, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Verinda. Ms. Penniman notified, and Penniman notified the department by email that she will not be able to attend today's meeting. And our chairperson, Mark Aragoni, also just notified us that due to a personal issue, he will not be able to attend the meeting, but will be in touch with us at a later date to coordinate. So that's where we are right now. Verinda, definitely feel free to chime in, to
Facilitate. So we will wait.
Rules of orders. Absolutely.
Yes.
Please.
Under the Robert Rules of Order, we do need actually a 51%, not 50%, 51% for DCP legal division to determine a quorum. We need at least 2 persons. We're waiting another 5 minutes before evaluating if we have a quorum. Without the quorum, applications will be reviewed for departmental review and approval. We will be able to the board member that is present, as well as the board administrator and license and applications analyst that has done the pre-review, is able to make recommendations to the board, generally speaking, in this meeting without the quorum for departmental approval. And so we will go through the agenda and the list. We will not be able to take a vote on any prior minutes, because we do not have a quorum at this point in time at 9:39 a.m. The meeting started at 9:30 a.m.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
So when we look at those applications, we're not going to vote on them, but there can be a recommendation that can go on record.
Yes, I would.
Understood.
All discussions can be made, recommendations to approve and or deny, and then the department, whoever the appropriate designee is in the agency to make approval, can do so. Also, board members that are absent can review this recorded transcript as well.
Excellent. Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Verinda.
You're welcome.
And I did have another, well, once we start, I'll ask my questions. That way I want to make sure that we're on the up and up. I don't want to break any rules.
No, you can ask. We are being recorded. We
Okay.
are in session.
There's a normal course we have, and I know we have applications on. Most of them are pretty straightforward. There is one that I believe is a determination, because there is no examination criteria associated with it, and that's the one that we got the backup certification. I'm gonna butcher the name, Mario Andres Viola. I don't see any.
Correct.
So this is a determination by the board in order for him to take the exam.
That's correct.
Okay.
He's applying by the alternate.
Correct. Okay.
By the alternate path to get permission from the board, be approved to sit for the LARE. Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, so let's give another board member about 1 more minute. The time is now 9:41, and then I will provide a clarification for that very specific case, and then we can go through the agenda items.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the time is now 9:42 a.m. This is Ms. Birdsong speaking as the board coordinator for DCP. We have established today that we do not have a quorum. The report has already gone out by Board Administrator Kuzmic in terms of those who reported their absence for today. We will be able to review, discuss, the board member that is present, as well as the board administrator, will be able to discuss, go through the agenda item. Certain agenda items that need board approval will need to be postponed and for continuance to the next board meeting, but recommendations for applications can be discussed by the license and applications analysts that reviewed these applications and brought them before the board and can make recommendations. That is board member Dominic Seltruda and Mr. Robert Kuzmic, architect emeritus. So you can make recommendations on chunks of applications, person by person, and so forth and so on for review by the agency for approval. So we don't have a quorum, and that's how we should proceed. Starting with the first item on the agenda, the minutes from May 17th for board approval. Those minutes cannot be approved without a quorum. And so that item will be postponed to the next regularly scheduled meeting. The next regularly scheduled meeting of this board, that will be postponed. In terms of item 3 on the agenda, the investigation division's complaint status report. I'm not sure, Mr. Kuzmic, has that been provided today? We don't have anyone to speak to it from that division. No. Okay.
I have not.
And you haven't received
I
it
don't have
for the
report.
record? Okay, so it is noted for the record that that report has not been received for board review today. And therefore, that item will also be postponed to the next regularly scheduled business meeting. In terms of item number 4 under old business, there are several items, including 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D for everyone who has a copy of that agenda.
Correct.
And I'd like the board member that's present. I think all of these things need a board approval, specifically the status of the public member board appointments.
Correct.
Okay.
The only, I have one comment on that. We just want to make sure that that board appointment was made and it was in the governor's office. And I'm not going to speak for the board. I'll speak for myself, but it would be nice if someone can see how we can shepherd that through. It's been a few months since that board member was appointed, and I just want to make sure that it gets to the Department of Consumer Protection, because I know it's out there somewhere.
Okay, so what I will do is send something to our legislative director, who can then reach out to the commissioner, okay, to find out where we are in terms of that board appointment, it will be an off the record contact to the legislative director.
Mhm.
And then something will be sent to the board chair off the record to bring to the board. The items 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D of today's agenda of August 16th will be postponed and added as a continuance to the next regularly scheduled meeting of the board. Now, under new business, I will turn it over to Mr. Kuzmic in terms of the applications. Anything that needs to be voted on in terms of that certification that was just being mentioned, board member Dominique Saltruda,
Saltruda, yep.
which certification were you looking at that time?
It's Mario, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mario Andres, Ulloa, ULLOA. And it's basically, he's coming under a, alternative path to licensure. He has not taken the exam. He's seeking our, our agreement that he can take the exam.
So that's
And-
item 5D.
Hold on one second, let me get back. to
Item
my-
5A, excuse me.
It's 5A.
Okay, it's
5A.
5A. So this was supposed to be a discussion by all board members to vote today.
Correct.
Okay, so that item also will be postponed to the next regularly scheduled board meeting, so we can begin at 5B. And I will turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Kuzmic.
Thank you. Okay, so 5B, agenda item 5B are applications the department received for initial licensure. I have, preliminary reviewed all of them and placed them on the board's agenda. The qualifications are in order for items 1, 2, and 3. In terms of, we have the Clark council records, and we have the education and the experience in place. So, Dom, I don't know if you had a chance to.
I reviewed
look at
all,
these.
3 candidates, and I agree with your with your assessment. Everything appears to be in order on all 3. And we have one of them here today, which is always nice when they show up.
Correct.
Greetings, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Thanks.
So on behalf of the department, representing the department, I would recommend, if I could, Ms. Birdsong, to the department that the applications can be, I guess, what's the word, approved? The recommendation for initial licensure to the commissioner.
Okay, and who is the designee to that would receive the recommendations to approve these?
Well, I mean, typically when we had a quorum, the board voted to approve,
Correct.
and that was it. So since we don't have a quorum, is there any way we could like to move these applications along? Process them for licensure.
And I can go on record as well as the only board member here. It doesn't do much, but I recommend them for approval as well.
Okay, very well. So because we don't have a quorum, I will get back to you vis-a-vis email and or on the record for the next regularly scheduled meeting, the word from the legal division in terms of whether or not they will go ahead and approve based on the recommendations that were made today outside of a quorum, and or if we should recap the recommendation after the review for the next regularly scheduled meeting. But it is on the record that it has been reviewed by the license and applications analyst as well as board member Saltruda for recommendation for approval so that we don't hold them up. All right, so that's on the record. Thank you.
And since we do have Sarah here, Sarah, do you kind of understand what's going on? We don't have a quorum, and I don't think it's going to hold up too much. It might be a little extra time to get that licensure. Is this your initial licensure, Sarah?
Yeah, this is my
So,
first.
Okay.
From my point of view, then,
Go ahead.
subsequent to today's meeting, do I go ahead and process the application? Or
So in terms of Ms. Swansea appearing today, thank you for coming today. We apologize that unfortunately we don't have a quorum, but we do appreciate your appearance. Do you have any words to offer that we can include in the transcript? If that's not necessary, then it has been reviewed by Mr. Kuzmic. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, it has been. Yep.
Okay, and is there a
Or-
recommendation to the agency to approve?
Yes, on behalf of yes, on behalf of the department, I would recommend approval for items under 5B, items 5B 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, all right, so
Have
very
been
well, so what we
reviewed.
will do. Okay, so what we will do, Ms. Swansea, is that we will include your application as long as with the others in terms of approving your licensure. And if there are any caveats or clarifications needed by the agency before processing the application in full, please give us, at least, 3 to 5 business days to get back to you in terms of next steps. If we need you to appear again, or if we don't need you to appear, it is noted for the record that you did appear and that the approval is on the table by the board member and the license and applications analyst that reviewed it. And then they will be, Mr. Kuzmic will be given instructions as to whether or not to go ahead and proceed with the completion of the application process and then notify you. So you will either hear probably from Mr. Kuzmic on your
Yeah.
application in particular. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Sarah, and I may be speaking out of line, Sarah, but I do have one question for you. And you don't have to answer this. You work for Olin Studios currently, and you practice. You're working out of Pennsylvania, or you're working in Olin Studios in Connecticut?
I work out of the Philadelphia office.
Okay, thank you. If you have any trouble, just reach out to Bob Mitchell or anybody with the DCP, but I think it should be all set.
I appreciate that.
And I definitely appreciate you coming and spending a little time with us too. We like visitors. Sorry.
And just, Sarah, just to echo what Ms. Birdsong said, when I get word from the department as to what to do, then on the assumption they're going to say, go ahead, you'll get correspondence from us, an email that states that you'll be getting further emails from the department with instructions on how to pay your initial license fee online.
Okay,
Okay, it's basically an automated process that I have to begin once I get the approval. The word from my supervisors, from the department to go ahead and start the wheel rolling.
okay. And if there's a delay, will you also just keep me informed of that? Like,
Absolutely, I will send you once if it's to go ahead, you'll get information on that. If there's a delay, I'll communicate with you one way or the other.
okay,
Yes.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Bob.
All right. Thank you. Just to look at, we've covered items 5A and 5C. What about 5D for the corporate practice?
Actually, if we can just back up a minute, Belinda, 5C and
Yes.
5D, both those agenda items are on just for the board's information. Their applications, both for reciprocity, and 5D is for the corporate practice of landscape architecture, that have already been approved, already been issued by the department, and they're on the agenda for the board's information. That's the protocol that we've been operating under for years now.
Okay, so it is noted that items 5B and 5C has been, 5B and 5D are approved, as well as just information for the board. We will certainly
C and 5D.
and 5D. So we will simply just forward these over in the next regularly scheduled meeting as information only, as a continuance as information
Correct.
only, that this business is actually
Correct.
completed business as of today's date, August 16th. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
all right. And
Actually, the applications, I don't know the exact dates. They were approved before the date of this agenda. I gather them up, and when the agenda goes out, I put all the ones that have been approved by the department for, reciprocity and for corporate licensing, and put those on the agenda. Just, the board is formally told about these on the agenda, but the actual, when the licenses were issued varies depending on the applications. I do them as they come along, so.
yes, and I do see that under 5C, what the approval dates were for the waivers.
There we go.
Okay,
Correct.
so that's all noted for the record. They will be included in the next regularly scheduled board agenda as information only, with a statement that they were provided to the board vis-a-vis email communication in terms of a notice of this meeting, as well as they were reviewed. I will ask board member Saltruda if you have any comments based on these
Nope.
items.
None. I have
Okay.
none.
All right, so it is so noted for the record that it has been reviewed at least by this board member. Okay, we don't have any correspondence or any comments or concerns of any person present today besides the comments that will be noted by Ms. Swenson, that we get back to her as soon as possible in terms of her application.
One comment, and Bob, I apologize. I missed the last meeting of the board, and I read through the meeting minutes. They accepted the meeting minutes for, I believe,
5/17,
they
5/17.
accept, like the last one, they accepted, yeah, they must have accepted 5/17, but was there any discussion?
5/17,
Say again?
excuse me, 5/17, those minutes are on the agenda today for review and approval.
So they
They
accepted
were
February
postponed.
15th, was it 2/15 they accepted?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Okay, on 2/15, and again, I apologize, I wasn't at the last meeting. Under comments and concerns, note 2, and you don't need to find it, just write down note 2. I had noted the discrepancy, and I wanted a review of the regulation versus the statute. And it was supposed to be placed under old business at that time, because there was nowhere else to put it. I just want to make sure that it's on our radar that we need a review of the statute versus the regulation for licensure. And there's some specificities in terms of the statute versus, the regulation versus the state statute. So let's just get that on, we can't do anything today anyway, we don't have the rest of the board here, but let's just make sure we put that out there for our next meeting.
Okay, under old business, actually from February 15th, 2022 minutes.
Correct.
Okay, so I will review that item. Are you asking for a representative from our legal team to come and make a presentation on that?
They can either do that. We just want to make sure there's a discrepancy between the way the regulation is written versus the state statute concerning whether a candidate can sit for the examination prior to completing the work experience required.
So actually, I think what we want to do, Dom, is it should have been on today's agenda, which it was not. So it should be carried on to the next meeting agenda
Correct.
under
Yes.
old business,
Yes.
as
Yes.
was brought up at the February meeting. Correct,
Yep.
I got you. Yeah,
Okay.
I've done that. My apologies.
No worries.
Yep, it's so noted. And I will also bring that item to one of the legal directors or the staff attorney in terms of whether or not they can present any clarification to the board at the next board meeting, which is scheduled for November 15th, 2022 for the record at 9:30 via Zoom webinar. Okay, any other comments or concerns?
Nothing.
All right, Bob, you can go ahead and we will not take a motion to adjourn. We will just simply adjourn the meeting.
We'll adjourn the meeting at 10 a.m.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you for appearing, everyone,
Thank you all.
especially Miss
Thank you, everybody.
Swanson.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
Sarah.
you. Bye.
Thank you, Verinda. Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too.